Thank you, Tony. News since 6 o'clock inside the Kindel Furniture fire. You're looking at brand new video shot from a bird's eye view showing the aftermath of a fire that burned for more than 10 hours.
Oh, look at the smoke now. Look at that.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at that water. I like to watch fires.
I stick my nose everywhere.
5,000 gallons a minute on this. So we've got every fire truck in the city here.
I'm sure there's some archive items that are going to cause some heartbreak.
I think the history of that building was in the people that worked there, the furniture they put together there, the handcrafted items. Everything was so beautiful.
Tonight, a quintessential reminder of what Grand Rapids furniture industry is still burning tonight.
Yeah, today crews disassembling lacquer lines managed to escape safely after a saw ignited the flammable material. The smoke could be seen for miles.
Tonight, our live team coverage continues. We start with 24-hour News 8's Danny Carlson. Danny, what's it look like out there now?
Well, Sue and Brian, first let me let you take a look at this. It's definitely not something that you see every day. Look at that. The water is actually coming out of one of the windows of the Kindel Furniture building. Grand Rapids Fire Department is on scene. They're still putting about 1,000 gallons of water a minute onto this building. Basically what they're trying to do right now, they say, is put out the hot spots. I just talked to the chief a couple minutes before we went on air tonight, and they said that nothing is actually actively burning right now, but there's still a lot of stuff that's smoldering that they're trying to just drown with the water. But they're having a difficult time because basically what happened is when there was fire, the roof collapsed and then floors collapsed on top of each other. So what they think is going on right now is there's actually some hot spots that are being covered up by other parts of the building that have crumbled and fallen on top of it. So they say that they plan to be here throughout tonight and into tomorrow morning and possibly even afternoon, basically drowning this fire. We also found out some new information since 6 o'clock tonight. I actually talked on the phone to one man who was inside when the fire started this afternoon. He says he was working on the floor below where that fire started, on the second floor, and he said at first they weren't really sure what exactly was going on, but he says that he saw smoke, decided to leave the building, and he told me from the time it took for him to walk down 2 flights of stairs to get to that parking lot level, flames were already coming out of the windows of this nearly 100-year-old building. Now, firefighters say the fire started at about noon today. About 55 firefighters, every single one from Grand Rapids Fire Department and several from Wyoming and Plainfield, were on the scene today. We do also know that the black smoke from this fire could be seen from as far away as Holland today. Now, coming back out to this scene here, take a look at that. The water that you're seeing right now, that's what 1,000 gallons of water a minute looks like, and that's just a fraction of what it was earlier today when the fire was still actively burning. We know between 20 and 25,000 gallons a minute were going on this fire trying to put it out today. Firefighters say that they do plan to stay out here all night into tomorrow morning and possibly even into tomorrow afternoon. Stay tuned and stay with us for daybreak tomorrow morning to find out the very latest on what's going on with this fire. Live in Grand Rapids tonight, Danny Carlson, 24-hour News 8.
Danny, thank you. And while most of the building is in shambles, it could have been much worse. A structural feature added on to the newer portion of the building is getting a lot of credit tonight. And 24-hour News 8's Mark Thompson spent the evening looking into that. He joins us live. Mark?
Sue, we spoke with both fire officials and building inspectors tonight, and they both said the same thing about firewalls. They are built to buy time for fire officials and for some of those other systems to work, and it played a key role in containing the fire here this morning. From the bird's eye view of a helicopter, pilot Randy Passeno was able to capture these aerial photos that clearly show where the firewall kept the flames from spreading from the west to the east end of the Kindel building.
You could see exactly where the fire had progressed to, where that line of delineation was, the good part of the building and the part of the building that's no more.
And fire officials say that firewall played a critical role during the heat of the battle.
One of the newer things in recent years that we require in fire code is separating firewalls in large buildings like this so the fire doesn't travel the entire length of the building. That appears to be holding at this point in time.
The installation of firewalls has been part of the Grand Rapids Fire Code for decades now. All new structures must have them, and older buildings that are renovated or transformed from commercial to residential have to have them too. This firewall saved the Gathering Ground coffee shop back in 2006 when the adjacent Alger hardware building burnt to the ground. Firewalls are made out of thick fire-resistant materials and must be field tested and rated. Mark Fleet is building official for the City of Grand Rapids Building Inspections.
Typically they're rated in number number of hours, could be an hour, could be a 2-hour or more fire barrier, and then that buys that time just to contain that fire.
And Fleet says the quality of firewall construction can save a building from being a total loss.
The firewall needs to be constructed so that either side of the building would collapse before that firewall collapsed. That's a really critical element because that firewall separates what's called a defined term of a building. You're separating one building from another.
And one of the problems that officials are finding with some of the firewalls, especially in these newer buildings, is the fact that there are holes that are drilled in the firewalls now to make way for certain wires and cables when these buildings are being wired for new technology. As far as this Kindel building, that building inspector looked back some 20 years to see when this firewall was actually constructed. He couldn't find that exact date, but he did find some permits and applications for permits for other building apparatus that had to go on here in this Kindel Furniture building. Again, as Danny mentioned, stay tuned for Daybreak for the very latest. We're live in Grand Rapids tonight. Mark Thompson, 24-hour News 8.
All right, thank you, Mark. Our coverage continues at woodtv.com. We've got a complete photo gallery set up. That's at the website. We also have a lot more on the history of the Kindel Furniture factory.